Right, so George, I think the and to Lisa, the idea is, how would you like to sort of go ahead? Would you like to sort of present and then have some time for questions afterwards, or would you like people to ask questions as we go through? How would you like it to be?
Think, speaking for us, hopefully doing that right. So, Lisa, my presentation anyhow is very much going through with some engagement, holding sort of some of the bigger questions until the end. There are a couple of QR codes as well to share throughout the presentation for the engagement and just for any sort of questions at the end. Is that similar for you, Lisa, as well? Yeah.
Yeah. So my questions are really, mine is just explaining who we are, what we do, and how we can support, as well as signpost, and then obviously, yeah, any questions for the end.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we make a start then?
Yeah, sure. If you're happy. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so obviously we pop our microphones on mute, and you keep your cameras on if you want to, or turn them off. It's entirely your choice. So yeah, over to you then, George.
Amazing. Everyone, let me know if you can see this okay. I'm just going to try and go into the... Oh, there we go. Everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Right, so I'll try and work around those notifications. Lots of people are joining us. Right, so the Medway Send Local offer is what I'm here to talk about today. Please hold all questions until the end, as I just explained. You will obviously get a chance to ask your questions. There is some engagement throughout the presentation. So, right, first thing to ask is what send mean. I can't see very well, Lisa, so it'd be good if anyone does raise their hand at this point. If Lisa can, yeah, you can do that. Does anybody know what send actually stands for and what it means? No? Sorry. Not all the more worthwhile me being here. Is that right, Lisa? I'm good to go ahead.
Yeah, no one's...
Fantastic. I'm asking this because in the world of send, abbreviations rather like this are used quite a lot. Can be quite confusing. There are a couple of useful resources around that, which I'll touch on in a little. Initial SEND stands for Special Educational Needs and Disabilities. So I'm going to ask now, probably use the chat function. Can anybody throw in what they think might sort of constitute as a special educational need or a disability? It'd be really good if we can get some engagement going in the chat. Lisa, if you can just keep me up to date.
Yeah.
Things coming through. Let me know sort of what we're seeing. This is just so we can gauge a bit of an understanding as to where sort of you all are with your understanding on send and what sort of falls under it and so forth.
So we've got a couple already, George. ASD, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, mental health.
Yeah, no such thing as a silly answer. Please do throw your answers in.
Learning difficulties.
Sorry, just banged my elbow.
Looked after children being priority.
Okay. Interesting. Give that another sort of 10 seconds. Get your last answers in, please, and then we'll carry on. That's all right. I don't know, not that I'm rushing anyone along. Please feel
like countdown.
It feels like, we need the little the sound effect, don't we, running in the background? I'm going to go ahead and start putting some stuff on the screen here. So yeah, let's give you a bit of an idea. Some of you hitting, everything sort of being said there so far sort of does constitute as a special educational need or a disability. I'm going to touch more into the legal stuff in a second, but in short, yeah, there's a couple of examples on the screen. We'll have time for questions at the end. Please make a note of any questions you've got around this. I'm happy to speak to this at the end as well. So, first thing I'm going to ask here is who has heard of the local offer? If you can do it by show of virtual hands. Lisa, I think might be the easiest way for you to do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Be interesting to see how many people have heard of the local offer. Either you're counting in silence or nobody's hands up.
I was going to say, yeah, no one at the moment.
Brilliant. Not to worry. Like I said, it makes it much more worthwhile us being here, to be fair. No hands at all, so I'm going to carry on then. But the local offer, I've pulled from the Code of Practice. So the SEND Code of Practice, which is the legislation which sort of covers you know, sort of the local offer and send. There are additionally some other pieces of legislation, but for the purpose of what we're talking about here, the code of practice is the one that sort of I adhere to when working on the local offer. So local authorities must publish a local offer, and what it does is it will be setting out in one place information about provision that they expect to be available across education, health and social care for children and young people in their area who have SEN or are disabled. So that's covering again the SEN, special education needs and disabilities. It includes those who do not have an education, health and care plan, as well as those who obviously do have an education, health and care plan. Please make a little note there at that point. If you don't know what an education, health and care plan is, please hold that until the end. I'm happy to speak to that, or Lisa, it may well be covered in your presentation. Anyway, back to the local offer. So it sets out what the local authority expects to be available. Local authorities should also include provision which they believe will actually be available. So we speak about education provision, health provision and social care provision. Please, again, make a note of any questions. If there's any confusion around that, happy to speak to that. But in short, young person's sort of life. The service runs 0 to 25 years old for special educational needs and disabilities. Anything beyond 25 is covered by social care, should be, but again, there'll be more to it than that. But the code of practice, so the areas that it covers for the local offer: preparing and reviewing the local offer, including children, young people and parents and those providing services. What that means in short is that the local offer in every single local authority, you know, the place that we spoke about that sets out kind of what's really available for those with special educational needs and disabilities, that has to be prepared and coordinated and continually developed in collaboration with children, young people, parents and professionals. It means that everybody has to have their say, everybody's welcome to have their say. The local authority should action where reasonable feedback it receives. I can touch on that a little bit as well. But yeah, as possible. Also, what must be included in the local offer: information, advice, and support. Import from the legislation. Provide clear, comprehensive, and up-to-date information about the available provision and how to access it, and to make provision more responsive to local needs and aspirations by directly involving disabled children and those with SEN and their parents, and disabled young people and those with SEN, and service providers in its development and review. Really don't actually like the way that's worded too much. Did tell you we love the abbreviations and the word SEN, so you'll see that a lot. SEN is obviously just special educational needs. It's become the more modern abbreviation, I think, Lisa, if that's fair to say, so that it's a little bit more inclusive and just covers the entire range rather than kind of segmenting them so much, where there might be a degree of, I don't know. Yeah. So, has anybody heard of the SEN Information Hub here? If we can have hands up again, please. Don't worry, we won't be picking anyone by name today, obviously. Just it's all about engagement, participation. George. Huh?
There's a lot of shaking heads to say no.
No, it's not a problem. No one at all, Lisa?
No at all.
That's good. I just look. Oh.
I had a hand go up, but I don't know if that was a yes or a no.
Spoke too soon. Yeah, I just want to know that stats issues helps me in future planning. So the Send Information Hub is Medway's Send Local Offer. It's been rebranded as a Send Information Hub. We're not the only local authority to do this. We certainly not the first. We began here, then sort of the full rebrand was finalised once I was in post this year. And that is how we are referring to our sort of Send Local Offer going forward. Primarily will be known as the Send Information Hub. However, excuse me, it never hurts to understand that the Send Information local offer, so that if somebody came in from another sort of point of view, maybe they've come from another local authority, where it's known as a local offer, you're able to still sort of, you know, identify that and know that you're speaking about the same thing. So obviously I've just asked you who's heard of the Send Information Up in Medway. I'm going to have a quick little working task here, no more than sort of 5 minutes at max. Who do you think that the Send Information Hub should be for? If we could have a little minute to think about that, make a couple of notes. I mean, I think it might just be easy if we post in the chat here, Lisa, again, actually. It helps me as well because it's all recorded, we can pull back through. So if I was to ask you who you think that the Send Information Hub, a Send Local Offer, should be for. Now, I know we just touched about some in the legislation, but we kind of touched about how it's developed, who it's developed with. We touched a little on see what the understanding for from everybody.
We've got a couple of comments, George. One is everyone, and one is professionals so far.
Okay, yeah.
Someone else has put children, young people, and families.
Yep.
Again, families, all. Professionals.
Give it another minute or so. That's all right. Please do have a little think about this, everybody. Like I said, it's you'll get for a reason. It's to learn, isn't it? And it's not just for yourselves. It's useful for us to learn as well, to see how terms and stuff's interpreted, see what the sort of local understanding is. It's really, really all great work. It really is. You let me know when a bit of a and then I will carry on.
I think we've. If there's any more that come up.
I thought it was a QR code in the next one. I would have done it initially, but I don't want to do it that way. I'd rather do it this way, I've decided. I think that'll do us for now.
Yeah,
Carry on putting in the chat anyhow, if you like. It's not a problem. In short, though, we're all sort of right, to be fair. I know I said earlier that the SEND service in local authorities runs from 0 to 25 years old, and then sort of social care have some sort of ongoing stuff for those that are in need of it. But it's not just for those children and young people aged 0 to 25 with SEND at all. It's actually for their families as well. And you're also right, it's also for the professionals. So for those of you who sort of said everyone, yeah, very much on the right path as well. It is for those children and young people with special educational needs and disabilities, or also known as with having additional needs, and their families and the professionals that can support them. It's a couple of different elements. I won't touch too much on one of them around professionals because there's a whole bit about that later on. But yeah, you also do not need to have a diagnosis or an education, health and care plan to feel the benefit of coming to the SEND Information Hub. That information is available for everybody. It's very, very generic, building its way up to having an education, health and care plan. And whether you have a diagnosis or no diagnosis, the information and support there is great. There's stuff around mental health and well-being, for example. There's support for parents. Obviously, as professionals, there'll be all sorts of information available. I'm going to touch on that in a little bit, though, because I think there's a good discussion to be had around the professionals part. Nicely. So thank you for your engagement. Please do remember to make notes. It's just a friendly little reminder here to make notes so that we can have good conversations later on. And you can ask, real in-depth questions that we can try and answer. Another working task here for you then. What information do you think should really be available to SEND Information Hub? Now that we've got an understanding on who the audiences are, what kind of things do you think you would should be available on the SEND Information Hub, or that you would expect to see on our SEND Information Hub? I'll give you a few minutes for that. If you can post again in the chat, please. Thank you very much. It's a Monday morning, I suppose. I'm all switched on today for a Tuesday. If you can sort of give us a shout through, Lisa, again on what sort of
we'll do if something comes up.
Oh, amazing, thank you. Everyone, so just take a couple of minutes to sort of think about that, put sort of what information they think should be available. Browsing the internet, so to speak, and this is all coming off what you already know or think.
George, we've got one which is criteria for access to services and what sort of support is available.
Okay, yeah.
Contact support numbers, up-to-date details, the support children and families are entitled to and can expect, processes for accessing support and signposting to services and resources. What support can be available in schools?
It's fantastic stuff. This group is very, very knowledgeable. I'm not sure I can teach you much anything. It'd be nice to know about the resource here, obviously. It's yeah, really, really nice to hear.
What support for family members?
We're all sort of going down the right track there, which is fantastic.
Clarification. Can't get that word out this morning. Clarification of who the information hub is relevant to and for.
Yep.
Guidance for professionals.
Loving it. Brilliant. I think we'll progress there because that sounds like that's a good.
Oh, we've got one more, George. How to get
Yep.
my child moved to a different school that meets their needs.
Yeah, phenomenal. Guys, it's really fantastic, all of this. In short, I don't think I've heard a single one there that's incorrect. In short, every single point there, I believe, falls within that sort of remit of our send information hub as to what it should be. You're starting probably to paint a picture now. Sounds like you're really grasping an understanding of it already, and kind of a sort of foundational level as to what it sort of needs to sort of encompass, who it needs to sort of be tailored towards. And you're probably starting to realise at this point, it's quite wide, isn't it? It's not, I don't think it's as straightforward as you might find from a sort of an initial sort of conversation, say over a minute or two. You're starting to recognise now as you sort of delve into it, just how wide it starts to go and all the different areas it covers. And you think it's covering more than just sort of that education aspect. It's covering that health aspect, that social care aspect, criteria for every sort of service and team under that, contact details for teams and services under that, you know, in line with the internal processes and practices. So it's, yeah, there is a huge amount. Again, I was going to get you to go online, have a little browse and answer, but I decided I really wanted to just get off of that sort of base knowledge and see where we're at. Again, another little friendly reminder, please continue to make notes at this point if you have any questions or for any conversations later on. Moving on to our vision then. So our vision is that the Send Information Hub Medway Send Local Offer will support improved outcomes through the provision of information, advice and guidance for those with Send aged 0 to 25 and their families. Through collaborative working, we shall identify gaps and refine our offer. I do want to update the vision there based off of our conversation. Long, so I'm going to do a little bit of refining of this, but that's kind of what we're aiming to sort of achieve, I guess, towards our service users. So you know, there will be that will be very, very mutual, I'd like to think, at this point, because it's all about ensuring that our sort of service users get to the right support or receive the right information, advice and guidance, whether it's to empower them with knowledge to reach the positive outcomes we're striving towards, or, like I said, signposting and directing them to those positive outcomes through support and information. So signposting, I just touched on it then, and this is where I didn't want to touch into much earlier on. Big sort of part of the Send Information Hub is the signposting element, and very, very much to everybody here. We really want you to start directing and signposting people rather to the Send Information Hub where applicable. You guys done so well earlier, but there's a little recap, I guess, there as to who can go to the Send Information Hub. You know, for the children and young people with needs, obviously, you know, send them obviously, you know, the young people, or you'll be liaising with the parents and carers of the children and young people. We're not oblivious. I know typically parents and carers, even for young people, are kind of the that they the talking, they do the planning, the arranging, and the young people sort of speak to the parents. So a lot of the engagement is sort of with the parents and carers for the most part. However, that's not to say that some young people don't know how to take sort of physical control themselves of these conversations, you know, and of the forward planning for the future. So yeah, professionals as well. Interestingly enough, it's a great place to signpost professionals to when they're looking for information themselves. You know, it covers a wide range, as we've discussed. This is kind of some of the internal conversations I've been having, is even our sort of internal staff members of this Send service in Medway will benefit. There's a little bit of I need a bit more clarity, or what's the best way to do this, or is there any sort of further support information I can provide to the families I'm working with? Go to the Send Information Hub yourself, have a little look, see what you can find, and then you can use those links from the Send Information Hub, and you can send them via that. You can send them to the Send Information Hub for the information, and it's very, very important that it's not just a matter of sending our parents and carers to the Send Information Hub. It's wider than that. It's the professionals as well can themselves go and gain benefit or find out more. So another little bit of engagement here for you. I do think this is the last one other than questions. So, you know, thank you very much for your engagement so far. But how can we support you in the roles that you're doing? It's all well and good me coming and talking here today and singing songs of praise and really hyping up and bigging up the Send Information Hub and how you should be using it why you should be using it. But there is probably an element there where we could improve ourselves on how we're sort of working, in collaboration, and how we're sort of, jointly supporting the service users, the families and stuff, that we're working with. How could we support you? If you can take a couple of minutes and put anything in the chat that you can think of, happy to discuss that. Probably pick it up more in the questions part. But if you can get it into the chat, then we can also, bring this back through in a moment. If there's anything that you can think of at all that would support you. I mean, obviously you didn't know about the local offer, aka now the Send Information Hub, before this today. So that's great. But just sort of in terms of thinking forward, whether there's something there or not, what could we do that may well have will improve that joint approach that we have? You can let me know, Lisa, when you have anything. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much for that. There's no such thing again as a silly answer. I really, really do enforce that. Silly questions, no silly answers. We're here to sort of learn, develop, improve. So there is nothing anybody could say, I'm sure, right now that's very, very silly.
Forums like this are really helpful, and I agree, Jill, they really are helpful. And Sarah's put updates on service. Nicola said maybe regular sessions like this to keep us updated. I think sometimes it's quite good for a regular session, because you kind of sometimes you're so busy in day-to-day life that actually to be kind of reminded of the service is quite helpful. But obviously we work with George quite closely as a forum to make sure that updates are reviewed. So yeah, I agree.
So they're really good answers as well. I'm making notes as well. Kind of started writing notes and thought, I can pick them up at the chat, but I want to make notes of these because they're very important. So I've started making notes there on where we can improve, and just, I guess, better, like I said, the joint approach. Anything else there, Lisa, or should I progress?
No, nothing else yet.
Fantastic. So moving on, I'm going to speak to the improvement journey of the local offer here. So previously they did a bit of a rework. This is prior to me starting post. So I started post in January this year. They did a bit of a rework. They were looking at the website and analytics, and they were looking at some feedback from engagement sessions that they did, and they made some changes based upon that. I'll quickly delve in here at this point. I've just come from Kent County Council, where I spent the best part of 5 years employed as a local offer officer. Wasn't working on that entirely the whole time. We all remember that god-awful thing known as COVID. That really pulled me away from the job, unfortunately, because we had to try and find a way to sort of navigate through COVID and, find a continuous way working forward. But I brought some experience across from my time in Kent, where we did a very, very similar journey. We rebranded and did the full, the rework. So currently, as I've come into post from January, I've been working on the inaccuracies and the out-of-date information. There was some inaccuracies and out-of-date information. I've been doing some partnership development work, as Lisa, you sort of just spoke to anyhow, haven't you? I've been sort of going around, getting to know everybody, bringing us together, working with each other to better the Send Information Hub. And then I've got some audit work in there, which is where I sort of just look at the legislation, make sure that we're starting to fill any gaps that are there, make sure it's fully compliant. Look at the quality of the information as well, where we can improve generally. So that's going to be sort of the longer term work in that element of it. Shorter term, obviously, legislative gaps if there are any left. But the first and foremost, I really want to highlight it's the inaccuracies and the out of date content that I've been working hard to fix. I couldn't have done that without the help and support of all of those I've contributed in the Medway Parent and Carer Forum have been fantastic. Not just bigging them up before they speak to you, they have been very, very helpful.
George,
so yeah,
there was just another comment coming back through from Candy around posters and resources placed in GP surgeries, and I think that would be a really good.
Already on my radar. We did the same thing in Kent. It's definitely something aspiring towards. Thank you so much for that. It really is helpful. That is something that I'm really keen to get up and running. It does need to sort of come together. There does seem to be a fair amount of fragmentation. Ofsted used the term in Kent and they were spot on, and they improved. We're improving. It's definitely on the up and up. So yeah, completely agree. Aspiring towards that. on this note, sort of the current content is really coming along. Keep your eyes out on the website. In the next couple of weeks, you'll see some big changes, but I believe we're just about there in all of those inaccuracies and out-of-date content. It's a couple of little bits to polish up here and there. It was, like I said, it had that rework last year, but before that, it was a little bit neglected for a little while. So it's a big task, at least, I think, fair to say.
I think that's an understatement, to be honest, George, but yeah.
It's been a big task. We've been working hard at it for 9 months now. There's so many sort of stuff off the website going on as well. So yeah, moving on, we're going to achieve this by planning and working together, liaising and working with other key organisations, listening to our service users, and the next couple of bullet points are going to touch on that. That's really important to me. I worry that sometimes, especially in local government, local authority working, we can often feel that we know what is best for our service users. I very, very much oppose that for the most part. Yes, within reason, there'll be some core fundamental parts that we will kind of know have to happen in a certain way, mainly when you're sort of complying with legislation. However, we should not make pre-assumptions on our service users. It's always, I speak to them, hear from them, for them. Knowledge is power. There it is, listening to our service users, ensuring that we do what is best for them by listening to them, not just what we think is best for them. And also working sustainably is critical to me. I like to work in a way that's sustainable, that I want the positive change that we make has to be sustained. Otherwise, what was it for? So yeah, it gives you a little bit of a picture, hopefully, at this point of how we plan to achieve improving our Send Information Hub. So what we need from you, asked a lot, I know, and this will touch on a lot of what I've asked for. Does it make sense and does it help you, the Send Information Hub? Does it keep you interested? Is it easy to navigate? And can you understand everything that you are reading? And does it finally send you to the right place for further help? I'll leave it on the screen for a minute. If you want to make some notes, that'd be great. I'm going to provide you with some contact details on how you can leave feedback about the website. You know, I think what I'll do, if you like, Vicky, you can share out the mailbox that I maintain with the group. If you want to email that out to everybody, I don't mind. It's a public facing mailbox. It's on the website. It's where you would go to sort of feedback via email. But I'll touch back on all of the feedback tools in a moment. But this is kind of where it would really help. I know I asked you how we can support you. This is me expressing to you now how it is that you could help develop and improve the Send Information Hub. We do take everything on board where we can. It does need to be founded. If we changed website content every time somebody approached us and said, I don't like this because this colour's ugly, obviously, we'd be going around in a vicious loop, wouldn't we? So it has to be founded. I'll give you the thing right now, I suppose. It needs to be, you know, something in line with legislation or accessibility wise, so that, you know, if they can't access it because of what they're telling us, we're obviously going to have to do something about that. And just by if we keep hearing the same thing, then we know there's a sort of a consistent piece of feedback. If we keep hearing, oh, you know, we want this, we want this, we want this, then obviously, you know, we need to start listening. Like I said, we won't make sort of really small minor changes just based on one person saying they don't like something, I guess is what I'm getting at there. Moving on, how to provide feedback, as I just spoke about. First, we can email the local offer at medway.gov.uk. Again, I'm going to ask Vicky to share that anyway. You can also find it on the website as well. Or you can take a note right now of that. And happy to share these slides as well. There's also a feedback tool you can use, and it's found on the bottom of every single web page on the Medway Council website, not just the Send Information Hub. To clarify, the Send Information Hub sits on the Medway Council website. It's sort of one part of the wider website. So yeah, they're the ways you can feedback. Keep an eye out for the website going live. Send newsletter. This is a newsletter that we're revitalising right now. The first edition should be looking to go out at the end of the week. Please do go and subscribe if you're interested in receiving that. I would positively and heavily implore you to go and subscribe to that as professionals. It's a good way to stay up to date with the updates. I know somebody said earlier about having updates. Forums are helpful, regular sessions and sort of general updates sort of to be provided. This will be that communication channel to drive that information out that we provide into the main highlights and updates, you know, across the previous academic term from a send service perspective. So that will be a really sort of pivotal place to get those updates that someone mentioned earlier. Like I said, we're revitalising that. It hasn't happened in about, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, probably close to 3 years from what I could see, based on the template I was working with. So I think that's a really positive and critical step forward in improving communications. And then also to keep an eye for any engagement co-production opportunities. If there's anything you're aware of, feel free to give us an email. You'll see us at sort of different events. If there's any thoughts on that, please put them in the chat again or make a note ready for the questions at the end. Going to move on from there for now. So we have reached your favourite part, the questions. Please remember there's no such thing as a silly question. I'm going to put up the QR code for the send information up. If you wanted to quickly access that, have a very brief look while we're talking. If there's any questions you want to ask on that, I'm happy to take the moment to try and answer any questions you may have at that point. Would be nice to see faces as I'm talking, but it's not the end of the world. I'm quite content staring into the QR code. If you can let me know, Lisa, if we've got any questions, that would be great.
Yeah,
And Vicky, if you've got any questions for us at this point, I'm more than happy to try and answer.
Thanks, George. I'm glad to say my camera is working now. I don't know at the moment. I think, like we're saying, we've got lots of resources that we can send round afterwards and links, and like you say, I think it's a really good idea to sign up directly to the newsletter. So that's not them. You're not reliant on it coming out through me or public health. They can sign up directly, which would be good.
Yeah, just stop sharing that because I've had that for long enough. I'm sure we've all had a chance to look at that. Thank you for supporting that, Vicky. Yeah, it really is quite pivotal. It was always very helpful and great in Kent. It's like I said, it's a great tool for pushing out updates, but it also aims to provide activities and events going into half term. It's a good way to highlight other pieces of support, other services. We can sort of bring them to the forefront and make them sort of known about. I'm just going to copy and paste a link, if you like, into the chat. Is that helpful, or would you rather me just get you to send it around after, Vicky? What works best for you?
Oh, you can pop it in the chat, but yeah, I will definitely send around everything as a reminder afterwards, especially to those that may have not been able to make it today as well.
Amazing, yeah. Like I said, happy to share the slides. Be honest with you, I had a request before I even got to this today, where I was asked if I could share the slides because somebody couldn't make it to this. So that was really good to hear. Please share the slides. Absolutely will do. Web page looks good. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. A lot of work going into it. A lot of more work to do. So yeah, like I said, any questions at all, post and resources placed in GP search regular sessions. Yeah, we heard all of that. Completely not agree with everything that's being said. The group's been absolutely fantastic here today. Your contributions have been bang on. Sorry, Lisa. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that families can also sign up to the newsletter, so it's not just for professionals. So actually, you could recommend families to sign up to it, because actually that will get them the information directly as well, without them having to come back into yourselves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that signpost element again would be great. Yeah, like I said, very much self-subscription newsletter, isn't it? It's very forward-facing. I believe heavily in transparency. The recently appointed head of the Send service seems to very heavily steer into transparency as well, which is great for me. Makes it a lot easier to work, makes a really good, positive, strong working relationship. So those updates being provided in those newsletters will be very, very transparent. It's really nice. I'm sure it'll be nice and refreshing, Lisa, for our families to be able to hear that and see that. But if no other questions, I guess thank you very much for arranging this for us, Vicky. And thank you to the group for your contribution, of course.
Well, that's great. Thanks, George. I think everybody will agree. It was made it interesting and interactive as well, which is also always really, really helpful. It's really up to all of you now. Did you want to have maybe sort of a 5-10 minute break now before Lisa covers her section, or would you like it to just carry on and maybe finish up a little bit early? Anyone want to just come off mute and just what you'd like to do?
Happy to carry on if everyone else is.
Carry on.
I'll carry on.
Just carry on. Okay, Lisa, over to you then.
Brilliant, thank you. So I promise mine's really quick. Hopefully some of you already know about us as a forum. So my name's Lisa. I'm the participation coordinator for Medway Parents and Carers Forum. And again, I have a few slides for you that just explains a bit about us. So what is a parent carer forum? I just wanted to touch on this because obviously every local authority will have a parent carer forum attached, or should do. So the Parent Care Forum is a group of parents and carers of children and young people aged 0 to 25 with additional needs and disabilities. Their aim is to make sure that the services in the area meet the needs of the disabled children and their families. So forums exist to fulfil the original remit under which we were established, namely working with local authorities and health services to improve the quality of provision. And we were established in Medway in 2009 in the reforms, the last reform, so I'm looking forward to the new ones. And we've been around since then. We collect the views that, they collect the views of the wider parent carer community outside the steering group. So we have a steering group. We also have a board of trustees, but we will go out and about to wherever we can and take feedback from families. They then use those to feed back to the local authority and health service about what's working, what isn't, and how we can make it better. We exist to work in co-production. So we like to work in co-production, as George said earlier. He's very well co-produced with the local offer. It doesn't happen always, and we do offer co-production training annually to the council. We are part of a network of forums, so we have 151 forums nationally, and there's now 19 in the southeast, of which I'm actually also regional chair. So I chair the whole of the southeast and get that knowledge from all those other areas as well. Kent and Medway both have a forum. So we are Medway Parent Carers Forum, but obviously we also have Kent Pact, and they're Kent Parents and Carers together, and they cover our Kent counterpart. How that will change in local government restructure, we're not sure, but we'll wait and see for that one, and we'll obviously keep everyone updated. So what do we do in Medway? So we're a independent parent-led charity who work, and we love this saying, not with, with and not for, the local authority, health and local services to improve services for children and young people with special educational needs and or disabilities and their families. We make sure that, we want our children to have the best chance in life. So many of us that work for the forum or are volunteers for the forum are parent carers ourselves, and we've had our own personal experiences, and we want to make that better for families in the future. We like to work alongside the council and the Medway Integrated Care Board, as well as MCH, NELFT, and any other partners that we kind of meet along the way. We attend meetings, quite strategical meetings with the council and ICB, and we offer training sessions, workshops, coffee mornings, or meetings actually, because we do evenings as well, to make sure that their voices and children's needs are being heard, and we try and help develop and plan the quality and range of accessibility of services, creating the better outcomes for families through the participation and coordinate co-production. So we kind of attend so many different meetings and so many different areas. We also have different parts to us as a forum, which I'll explain. So this is a list of our current work streams, things that we've been involved in really in the last sort of 12 months. And it seems to be growing because I only had 2 rows a couple of weeks ago. I've now got 3 rows. I'm sure there's more to add to this that I haven't actually yet done. But we go along to all of these events, these meetings, these details to make sure that families' voices are being heard in them. There's also things like interviews. So I interview for the council quite regularly around short breaks, social care. I've done this for health, for commissioning, and also I've recently, the new SEND lead that George was talking about, I actually interviewed her before she was taken on. So we also offer a family support team. So our family support team offer support for families, which is slightly different from most forums. We actually went out for additional funding to be able to offer this. And our family support team offers support with DLA, PIP, universal credit form filling, and to be honest, just general form filling. So they're all trained in PIP, DLA and universal credit, but they can do things like we've done blue badges for families. We've helped with other forms. We can guide through how to apply for an EHCP, but we would ask signpost to send yes to say, if you wish to go ahead and apply, they should be talking to Send Yes, because we do not have the advocacy level that Send Yes have, and they have more legal knowledge. Whilst we have level 1 Send Law, we would still signpost to them. We signpost to relevant agencies, but obviously some of those we can't personally endorse them because we might not have listened to use them, we might not know them well enough to make sure that they're actually good, but also we can be a listening ear. And I think sometimes families just need to talk to somebody, they just want to talk to somebody and get some feedback, and also just have someone listen to them. We have also recently started our Healthy Parent Carers course. So myself and my colleague were trained by the University of Exeter to deliver this. And this is around families remembering that they are people and not just parent carers. And actually, as parent carers, we don't necessarily take priority of ourselves. We take priority of our children and our families. And we often neglect our own health and well-being. And this is about reminding them that they need to take care of themselves. And it's vital to do that. We have been funded through the Joy app, and all of our services are available on the Joy app. But there was some lovely feedback, and I think for me, what sticks in my head from the first course that we've done is the families, the parents saying, attending this wellbeing course has been life-changing, and I highly recommend all parents join up the upcoming sessions. That feedback for me was just everything, because actually through the programme, we actually saw how that actually changed her life, and you could see her coming out of herself. And it was really lovely to do that. So the programme at the moment is face-to-face. We try and do over 6 weeks. It's 3-hour sessions for 6 weeks. We are trying online. I have to be honest, I'm not sure the online works. I don't feel that connection with people, and I think that's half of the programme is about kids connecting with other people, and having that kind of building those relationships with others. But we will continue, and we will see where we get to with that. And we wanted to offer the both offers because we appreciate that many of our families work. And then they could do the evening, but actually they've got their children at home as well. So actually they couldn't then come out of a house to be able to do that. So we obviously appreciate that, families have different views.
Sorry, Lisa.
Sorry, go on.
Just quickly, got a message in the chat here. Can the GP refer to the forum? And they also said it's great about the Joy app. Just wanted to share the little positive touch there.
Yeah,
but the question there.
Yeah, we are on the Joy app for the forum, the family support, and the health care chemicals. So you can feedback to any of those, or you can always email us, and I'll give you our email address at the end as well. If it's regarding health parent carers, there's an email address here as well that they can refer themselves into the service. There is no requirements for referring into us as a forum, so they don't have to have a diagnosis. They don't have to. They just might be concerned about their child. They can still come in and talk to us, and we're happy to have that. Professionals get involved, so I have on here, become a member and join our closed professional page. So as a forum, we have 3 Facebook pages. We have one that is for professionals only, one for professional parents, because we appreciate some of those professionals also parents, and we have one for just our parents, so they can become involved. You can then see anything that we've got planned, anything that we're doing, anything we're taking part in, and we will share that with all of our members across all pages that we're part of. We will also send things out to other pages, so any local support groups that we know that we work with quite closely, we will share that out with them as well, because obviously, yes, we've got over 1,200 members, probably nearly 1,300 now actually, and we reach over 8,000 people, but there's still other families that may not know about us and that may not have that information. You're more than welcome at any point to join us in our coffee mornings. So again, those coffee mornings are shared on that professional page. And also we run a newsletter. So you're always welcome to join our newsletter. And again, there's George's, but this is around the forum and what the forum have done. We make sure families know what we've taken to meetings and what action we're taking. So recently we questioned social care quite a lot around the understanding the finance side of social care, but when you become an adult, it's very different to when your child is a young person, under 16, under 18, to when they get to 18 and things definitely change and you start getting charged for their social care support. Share our communications with your family. So anything you see that you think, oh, actually, that'd be really good for that family, please feel free to share it. We're always looking for new speakers at our coffee mornings. So again, if you want to know for any time, come and talk to our families. Always happy for that to happen. We also like to co-produce new pathways. If you've got something changing that you're not sure about, or you would like some family input, feel free to email us and ask us for some families. We can try and get families from your practice and ask them for their opinions. As I said earlier, sign up for our newsletter. Sorry, my voice is going as well today. Wasn't so events. I normally try and put on here our upcoming coffee mornings. My colleagues just in the process of setting them up from September onwards. So this month we've actually got what we call our welcome breakfast. So being September, parents have struggled all the way over the summer, had a really hard summer, being at home 24/7 with their child. And so when they go back to school, we like to set up a wellbeing lunch. Actually, we've set up this time. We do wellbeing breakfast or wellbeing lunch, and it's just about coming together, having some food, and being able to talk to other parents in the room. So I know we've currently got 25, I think, booked on for that on Wednesday. So that's happening tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow, isn't it? And that's, you know, a really lovely session. They just get a free lunch. We go to summer school fairs, school summer fairs, school transition evenings, parents' evening, anything like that. Local hub meetings. We went to Pride over the summer. We went to the Family Hub Fun Days. You'll see us out and about everywhere. Anywhere there's an event going on, 9 times out of 10 we'll be there. We obviously have the coffee meetings as well, closed Facebook pages, our forums, newsletter, lots of different things that, you know, there's ways of joining in. We also in Medway, from another hat that we run, is the parent carer panel. So this is looking at all families aged 0 to sort of 5 really, and how we can shape the family hub. So I'm assuming, I'm sitting here saying, I'm assuming everybody knows what the family hub is.
I'll let you know if we get any responses on that, but just very quickly, you did have a question again. Would you be willing to share the presentation here with GPs?
Yeah, of course, no problem at all. I'm happy to. I'll forward this on to Vicky at the end and ask her to share that out as well.
And so far, nothing on the family hubs.
So around Medway, we have 4 family hubs. They're very similar to it was what was left over from the Sure Start many years ago. I'm sure some of you are aware of the Sure Start services. And they run events for kind of parent and carer and babies or toddlers, lots of different sessions. There is Medway Family Hub app. So there is an app available that you can download and have a look. There's also wellbeing centres, and I think there's about 8 wellbeing centres around Medway. So Candy, I know you've got a family hub opposite you nearly from Woodlands. It's in Woodlands Road. There's also one in Chatham, in Maple Road, one in Strood, and I can never remember the name of the road there. It's just off Darling Road. And where's the other one? Oh, Wayfield and Raynham, and that's up at the top of Wayfield. They're just ways of families getting involved and getting details. But what we're doing is we're classed as the parent carer panel. So I've got a lovely lady called Jem, and she basically is taking parents' feedback to try and shape the services that are offered there. So we kind of look at pregnancy, to be honest, to 5. And we're just trying to get parents involved in giving us that feedback, very similarly to what we do as a forum, taking that feedback back to the commissioning team of, okay, this is what families are telling us, this is what they'd like to see. So we've had a lot of things like they would like to see after school offers or weekend offer. Families are working, so they don't get to do things. Baby weigh-ins at the moment, currently, they were. There was a month wait for weigh-in for a baby, and actually, you know, if you're worried about your concern about your baby, where do you go? So it's making sure that families are aware of that and how we can spread that out. So we're always looking for people to come and join us as the parent carer panel as well. And that's it for me. So please ignore this email. It's an old one. I will update it and send it out to Vicky. But it's currently info@medwaypcf.org.uk. But this one still is valid, so we can still use it. But I will share the correct email address. I didn't realise it's still the wrong one on there. And that's it. So any questions for me? Yeah, Nicola, you're beside the family hub in Wakefield. Thank you. I think they're really useful places, the family hubs, and I think it's really good to kind of go and look into them, what's happening, especially that family hub app. It's really useful to look at. It tells you what's available in your local area, any events that are going on. I mean, I don't know if anybody's heard the Welcome to Medway events, but we're always at those as well, which are kind of for those families moving into Medway potentially that have never, don't know what's around the area, need to make friends. They're really supportive. But also it gives you an idea of what else is available. So we have things like singing mamas and lots of different services that actually are really good for perinatal mental health, especially within those services.
I think mine's more a comment here, which is much. It really is great stuff. The forum though, it's really nice for the parents and carers to feel supported in a sort of mutually understood environment. That's something they won't get from resources such as the Send Information Hub. So I think it's really, really pivotal to signpost for sort of that kind of, especially for that social element there, for them to sort of be in a sort of a setting, filled with like-minded individuals with similar shared experiences. So I just wanted to sort of sing about that for you, Lisa, I suppose, really.
Yeah, I think that was really nice because it was also recognised in the last Ofsted inspection of the council and the ICB. So actually, it was recognised that we are representative of our families. So many forums get a thing of, oh well, you work with the council, and we really don't. as many of our colleagues here will tell you, if we don't think something's right, we'll tell them. And that's something that we're really key on sharing there, because we want to make sure that our family voices are heard, and that's what our role is. Our role is to be our family's voice and make sure that them voices are being heard in those services, whether it's what we want to hear or not, what we believe or not as well, because actually as a forum member, we've been through that ourselves. It might be the experience of others, wanting to be that big voice of other people, which is why we went out and got the additional funding for the individual support for family filling, because our remit originally is to be the voice of many, not the individual voice. So we try and make sure that our voices, when we take them, are from families, and we run quick polls on our Facebook page. So it might be, right, somebody's suggested that this is happening for them. Okay, well, is this something of a bigger problem, or is it just that one person? And I think it's understanding that. We also run an annual send survey yearly, which we ask families to give us feedback on what's happening in Medway, and how they feel services are working for them. And we then share that back to try and review the priorities of the council annually as well. So when we get that feedback, we send that back into the council. We sit down together and actually we go, right, okay, this is what families are telling us this year. We need to maybe change this priority to be that, follow that priority. So a couple of years ago, it was about getting out and speaking to people, which is why the family hubs had the SEN officers go into them, because actually families wanted that direct contact. They wanted to be able to go and find someone, talk to someone, and get their problems resolved. So things like the local offer, the rebranding of that, the name of that was discussed with our families about 3 years ago now, George, maybe longer. And it was something that families were like, well, what does local offer mean? What does that, how does that represent SEND? And actually, if you were looking for something as a new parent to send, would you go looking for local offer? Because I know I wouldn't have done. I would have looked for SEND. So that's why we kind of got it worked together with the council to rebrand that and rename that to the Send Information Hub. So that's what we try and strive for with families.
And I think there's a good example of just forum that that's why, if you like, at a strategic level with the council.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's really nice because we are really respected. So, we've had that relationship for a very long time now. But we are listened to. So I also attend overview and scrutiny committee with the councillors, and I don't have voting rights, but I do very much have a say. We decided to open our professional page because we experienced that the families were having the same experience as our professionals, and we wanted a safe space for professionals to be able to say what they feel as well. Because actually, yes, it's about working with for families, but actually we can work together and sing from the same song sheet. We're actually supporting families more. So if we've got schools telling us, you know, this is that's happening, we can take that back to the council and say, well, schools are telling us this. It just gives another level of support. That's it, I think, Vicky.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you to George. I think it's been very informative. Were there any further questions that anybody had for Lisa and George before we close the session?
Well, there's a lot to take in, to be fair. So it might be more a matter of taking away the links, having a little look through, and then if you've got any sort of questions that come up later on, firing away. Oh, I spoke too soon, apparently.
My question is for George. George, would you consider going onto the Joy app as well?
So we now signpost to the Joy app. Last, my understanding is that we were going to be on the Joy app. I will have to double check and see how that's progressed. I am liaising with the social prescriber individual here within the Medway Council. And that was a part of, there's an improvement plan for the send service. It's in effect, has been for some time now, and that sort of came out through that. So yeah, my understanding is that we very much should be. I know that the website is someone posts to the Joy app, so I will go off and double check that. But definitely, if we can be, it's definitely something that I think needs to be in place as the send information.
We would like that. We would really, really much like that. I am sort of involved with the Joy app, getting organizations onto the Joy app as well. I'm doing it for the surgery. So I'm really happy that you are considering it. And if you could keep me posted on that, we could get that put on. I don't know if the Joy Connect and Joy Marketing. Joy Connect has got a widget, and the widget has a limited amount of resources that the GPs can actually access. So that is what I would like to see send on that limited list. Exactly the same with Lisa. I'd like to see that put onto the GP's list so that they got direct access, and that is on the Joy Connect widget. So I'll really be happy to talk a bit more about this in a later stage, or I've got your email and I'm interested in that happening. I know it will benefit the GPs because they want quick access. And this is giving to us.
Definitely stay in touch on that. It's kind of everyone else here, I suppose. One of the bits of feedback I had, I attended a SENCO forum, so Special Educational Needs and Disabilities Coordinator. Mouthful, I know. I attended one of their forums anyhow, and asked sort of what they would like to see. A bit how I asked you earlier on similarly, would you, how can we support you? And they'd very much like a professionals area on the Send Information Hub, which is sort of the key information they need, but more, I guess, quick signpost into the sort of key areas of relevance. Would something like that be of benefit to you all on the Send Information Hub? I can see a couple of, I can see a head nodding yes, which is good. Means
Yes.
I've said something that's obviously somewhat sensical, huh? That's
Yes.
always a good start.
Most certainly, most certainly.
Amazing. I'm going to make a note of that. I did think so. I think it's definitely an area of need to have an area that sort of will just do the job quickly and efficiently for you. I remember the last time I ever did any writing, but this week it's taken me there. Thank you all very much. Any other questions? Obviously happy to take. For DNA forms. How's everyone supposed to be helpful? Yeah, no, it really is. I'll be honest with you, the preparation for adulthood area, as we call it on the Send Information Hub, is in desperate need of a rework. It needs a lot of work. However, there are some strategic level meetings going on. Lisa, I think we're in one together later on. There's some strategic stuff going on around that, and it's going to really sort of, I guess, support a collaborative approach. So I guess watch that space is all I can say for that. In regards to DLA forms for housing for under 25s, oh, there we go. Before I even spoke, there you go, Lisa. I was going to ask about yourselves or maybe Sendias for those with additional needs.
So our family support team are trained in DLA, PIP, and Universal Credit forms, so they have understanding around that. They all have experience of doing that themselves. So, and I know they have done some housing support as well. So for under 25s, I think we've also done it for their parents. But any of those, and that again can be referred to on the Joy app for our family support team. Or they can just contact us through our website, and there is a form to them to complete exactly what support they want. And my family support team will contact them. We have an office in Snapdragon, so most people know where that is. However, they're willing to go and meet in a family hub, and the family hubs are more than willing to office space where necessary as well.
I think that kind of highlights one of the strengths of the forum and one of the shortcomings of the Send Information Hub is that the Send Information Hub will not offer that interpersonal service as far. Within reason, you can email that local offer at medway.gov.uk mailbox, and I'll answer and I'll share links and stuff. But when you're speaking about elements such as that, where you're hoping to speak to someone who gets to talk through a process, it doesn't offer that, unfortunately. It's very much a place you go to for the information, advice and guidance, and the signposting off to where you would then get that level of interpersonal support. So I just wanted to, I guess, sing for your forum again there, Lisa, I suppose, that you offer, something really, really sort of critical that
well, it was something actually, George, that came out of our send survey. So obviously we do the send survey every year. So we about 3 years ago now, we noticed that a lot of families were struggling financially and they didn't know how to complete forms. They were struggling with form filling. So we saw it as a real area that needed support. And we didn't want that to continue. So we kind of went out for funding, and I'm going out every year for funding, which is getting harder and harder, I'm not going to lie. But we'll still keep going, and we'll still keep asking for funding for people to be able to offer this, because I think it's a vital support for families. For somebody who, in the honest opinion, in Medway, we have a lot of poverty areas. We have a lot of areas who struggle and actually have their own SEND needs quite commonly. And actually they need the support filling the form. So we don't necessarily fill the form for them, but we will help them with the questions and what is expected and what actually the form means for families. I think in the last 3 years, we've seen well over 400 or 500 people and parents who need form filling support. It's just definitely a vital area of support.
So yeah, amazing. One thing I need recently is therapy for children who've been used and support in the social families still going through court cases. From a Send Information Hub point of view, I'll start with there, Lisa, and if you want to tie into that, more than welcome to. We do have a safeguarding link immediately on the page. That's obviously something you may want to use. It depends kind of where you're at in that situation. In regards to the support sort of post, I guess, and not in the immediate sort of vicinity. Again, with the preparation for adulthood work ongoing, it's definitely something there. There is a staying safe section on the Send Information Hub website already, where it might then sort of tie into that, because it will speak about sort of elements such as that. But I'm going to make a note and make absolutely sure. But then this is the support that really sort of needs to be brought onto the website. We need to be looking at those sort of further supports, whether it's through another service or whether it's through information and guidance. It's something such as that beyond the Send Information Hub. So it'll be very much a signpost element where I would send you on to the specialists that would be able to support that. So sorry, I can't give much more help than that from my service's perspective. I don't know if you've got anything to contribute to that, Lisa.
Not from personal experience. I've not had that before. However, there are a lot of different services. I don't know if you're a part of the Thrive framework. I don't know if any of you've heard of the Thrive framework. but that's a really good service. So I don't know if maybe Vicky, Diane Weeks would come and talk about the FIRE framework. But that will have some advice on there, so I can certainly go and have a look at that and get back to you, Jill. But there are lots of different services. I've just had a quick look. I've got Beach House Sexual Assault Referral Centre. So they're there for Kent and Medway families. And they're open 24 hours a day. So it might be somewhere to go. I think it's just looking into that. So we will go out and find our own guidance, and we'll talk to the commissioning team to find that out. I know that currently there is a new therapeutic alliance which is out for tender. So hopefully that may encompass that when that comes through, as to who will cover that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that, Joel. Please do make sure that you obviously look after yourself as well. If we can find support for that, we'll obviously send something through. It's definitely an area that there will be signposting elements and sort of information about, because we know statistically children and young people seemingly from the statistics are more vulnerable. So yeah, this is definitely an area that we'll look to cover within the information and element of the Send Information Hub, and definitely signpost off to the specialist service that would support around that. So yeah, I'm afraid that's all I've got to contribute at this time, I'm afraid. But yeah, like I said, please do look after yourself. If there's no other questions, I'm also conscious, Vicky, of time. I don't know when you're going to sort of shout us to go away. But
No,
I just
that's okay. I was just going to add into. I think that's something we can take away and have a discussion about. Being that this has been raised today, if this isn't quite right for us, then we can find out who this support does need to come from. So yeah, I've made some notes today of different things that have come up in the chat. And we'll go away and come back with some information around that as I can find it out. But yes, no, you're not limited to time. But if there wasn't any more questions, then yeah, we can wrap up for today. And like you say, George, it's been fantastic. A lot of information, and we will work together now to sort of pull the slides together, the links together, email contacts, and I'll get that all out to you. Fairly soon. I'll also send around another thing that came up was about the Welcome to Medway events, and I think George and Lisa are right. That'd be very useful actually for you to attend. So I will send. There's another one in October. Is it true, Lisa? The next one?
You've got a couple, haven't you?
I believe it's
you've
during
got
the
a couple.
school half term, isn't it?
It is. They are generally always in the school holidays to obviously attract parents to come in. But it would be equally as beneficial for you all to attend, to see different partners and different people there. So
there's actually a couple that week. So there's a Welcome to Medway, which is in Wayfield and Raynham, which is at Deanwood Primary. There's also a hold at the moment for a pop-up event, because we asked for events to be held in more local areas. And there's a pop-up event in Chattendene.
I believe that is going ahead. So
it is cool.
Yes,
that's good to know. They're just really good events to get out and speak to families. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I spoke to a lot of families that I'd seen numerous times, and I think some of them over the summer I saw more than what I did my own grandparent, because I'd just gone to so many different events, and every time I went there they were the same people. But we did have a lot of new people as well, so that was really helpful in giving them support as well, guiding them where they want to go, what they need help with, and actually becoming part of a family, if that makes sense. So, and I think that's vital, knowing your place and having your, that second family that you can go and talk to at any point.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording now.